Happy to see everyone. It's just a little after 7, so give people another couple minutes to check in. It's been a very warm day here, 70 degrees. A little odd, but taking advantage of it to be outdoors and cleaning up the garden and so forth. Okay. So finding your seated position. All the can everyone hear me? Okay. Thank you. Everyone's on mute, so that's good. So let's close our eyes. Close your eyes and notice what's going on inside. And you, if you need to, you can take this opportunity to check your tension level in different parts of your body. See where needs some adjustment so you can be comfortable and alert. Particularly pay attention to the alignment of your spine. Checking out the alignment from the lower tip of the spine up to the vertex of the skull. That's the back part of the top of the head. And now turn your attention to the breath. Just observing the breath. Notice the rate, the rhythm, or lack thereof. Notice which part of your torso is expanding and contracting. Notice the intersection of inhalation and exhalation, and of exhalation and inhalation, those junctures of the breath. Just noticing whether the breath flows smoothly from one to the other or whether it stops. These are all important parameters of the breath. Some of the simpler and more obvious parameters of the breath. There are many more that are more complex. Now let us begin to coordinate the attention with the breath and the spine. So letting your attention sweep up the spine from the coccyx, the lower tip of the spine. Let your attention sweep upwards toward the vertex of the skull, top of the head, the back of the top of the head. So letting your attention sweep up that pathway on inhalation. And then sweeping back down on exhalation. As we've done many times before. Inhaling up, exhaling down. And just staying with that for a little while. Inhaling up, exhaling down. As you relax into this practice, you may find that thinking falls away. Mental chatter falls away. And if you stay with it for a while, you may find that what comes into your awareness are little images, glimpses of things you've seen, maybe faces or things from the past, sounds. Still following the breath upward and downward. Our focus is on the breath. Our focus is on the sweep of the attention up and down the spine. So if imagery appears, we notice it peripherally, but we continue to focus on the breath and the spine. And tonight, in the background of this practice is the question, where am I going? Not to think about this or reason it out, but rather to hold the question, sort of hang it there in front of you while you inhale up and exhale down, while your attention follows up the spine and down the spine. Perhaps you're also using the sound so on inhalation, sound hum on exhalation. Inhaling upward with the sound so, reaching up, sweeping up, hum, coming back down. Not engaging with thoughts, but aware of the question. Where am I going? Letting your inhalation go up to the crown of the head and maybe a little beyond. With the sound so. Let your attention sweep back down the spine to the lower tip of the spine, and maybe a little bit further with the sound hum. Let your spine be like an antenna, receiving input. There's nothing you have to do. If input comes, let it come, but keep moving your attention up the spine on inhalation, down the spine on exhalation. Inhaling so, exhaling hum. There's a question hanging in the air. Where am I going? But this is not for me to reason about or think about, or just to be quiet, centered, receptive to any images or sounds or whatever. If the mind is busy, there's no room for reception. It's like trying to meditate when the TV is on. So letting the thoughts go, follow up the spine and down. Imagine the sound so hum. Notice the difference between the end of so, when you're way up the top of the spine, the crown of the head, and reaching up. Notice the difference between that space, that reality, that experience, and where you are when you go down to the lower tip of the spine and down toward connecting in the earth. Open your awareness. The question has answers on many levels. Where am I going? You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to think about it. Just open your awareness and receive whatever you receive. Maybe tonight you don't receive anything. This is a practice, an inquiry, a different way of inquiring. To bypass the mental chatter, to bypass the circular thinking. Connecting to sources beyond your limited self. Where am I going? It's not an address and a zip code that I'm looking for. Make room for answers that can't be communicated in words. Let your soul and your sweep up the spine be a probe opening upward. Let your hum be a grounding as you open, as you probe upward, as you receive. Make room for input that is not in a form that you expected or would expect. Don't let ideas about death throw you off. Leave open the possibility that death is not what you've been thinking it was. Where am I going? Where is the light? Looking toward the light. Now letting your attention begin to drift down from the top of the head toward the heart center. Slowly coming to rest. Your attention coming to rest on the heart center. Noticing how this is different. Notice the impact that the questions had on the heart. Where am I going? Now we will begin to exit the meditation by extending our attention out from the heart, but remaining centered at the heart, expanding the awareness out from the heart center toward the hands, the right hand, the left hand, towards the head, towards the feet. Gradually coming back into awareness of the space around us. Taking your time, be gentle. Move your fingers, your toes, your head a little bit. And when you're ready, you can bring your hands to cover your eyes, palms over your eyes. And then you can open your eyes and keep your gaze fixed on your palms as they float down towards your lap. And slowly beginning to unfold your legs. If you move them around, give them a little massage. Your feet. And when you are ready, if you would like to share your experience, or if you'd like to ask a question, or just have comments, you're welcome to unmute yourself, say your name, and speak up, whatever you have to say. This is the part where we talk. The meditation is over. I know everybody's still so, but if you can drag yourself back to the world of words.
Swamiji, this is Shiv. When I was meditating today, I felt a sense of, when I was focusing over here in the crown chakra space, a sense of community, like sense of people around me in my neighborhood. And I don't know, I just felt this vision of all the people coming around me. And then once I dropped into the heart space, um, it felt very peaceful. It was like very grounding. I I can't, it's hard for me to describe that. It's just, I could feel visions of people coming and then sort of you drop down into the heart space. It seems very grounding.
Hmm.
I'm with me, you know. It's just, I don't know if there is a difference in terms of the chakras which you focus on and how it relates to people and yourself.
Yeah, it does.
40%.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It does make a difference which chakra you're focusing on. And many of these um, experiences or aspects of our life are different from the perspective of different chakras. So make room for that multi-dimensionality, that it's going to be feel different here from the way it feels here. And it's all meshes beautifully, but it is different when you focus in one spot.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that experience.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Who else? You could comment on where you are now. I see people look like they're still in other spaces, but that would be interesting for everybody to hear about. It's just all about magnifying the learning that we get from this. When we hear what other people are experiencing, it expands the benefit.
I'm Jerry. When we were in there, I was like on a different plane. And until you said go down to your heart, I was like between two different planes, and it was just peaceful, very calming, and I really didn't want to go down to the heart. I wanted to stay there.
Right. Yeah, that's okay. That's great. Yeah, this is, so here we have this question, you see, where am I going? And, you know, how do you answer that question? Well, we can make up words, but we're trying to get beyond the word thing and the everyday talk. So those different levels that you're experiencing, there are answers there in some form that is not maybe amenable to being communicated to other people or even to formulating in your own head. So I think that's the kind of question that we want to go beyond the talk, beyond the discussion, to a kind of connection with a sense of where we're going, that is beyond words, that's more valuable than words, because at some point the words are going to fall away. And that may sound terrifying, but actually it might be a relief. At some point where we're going, we will leave the words. Swami Rama used to say, the only thing that you can count on at that point is a mantra. So the mantra that you're using can be a guide, but not words. And to go beyond words is probably, when the time is right, will be a wonderful liberation. So I think this meditation was meant as kind of introducing a methodology for probing into the answers to questions that probably aren't going to be answered by words. And you can work with it. It's not like, okay, did you find out where you're going? Tell us where you're going. No, that's not the point. I'm going to Australia. No. So I'm hoping that you will experiment with this technique and this practice. And when you have questions, but especially when you have really important questions, not sort of mundane questions, but beyond the mundane questions. And, you know, certainly I'm hoping to help dispel some of the fear around the death question, because that's a showstopper. You know, people, well, where am I going? Well, oh, I don't want to think about that. Because you have this idea about what death is that is scary. And so that blocks, that interferes with being able to go into the truths that you're looking for, and the sense of who you are. You know, we've been talking about who am I, why am I here, and where am I going? Well, if we're gonna rule out any connection with death, so-called death, then we're going to be really cramped and are limited in what we can grasp and come to grips with. So just consider the possibility that death is not what you thought it was, and consider the possibility that that where you're going might be something totally different from where we are now, and that it might be the greatest discovery and most exciting transition that you've ever, more exciting than anything you've ever imagined. So let's open up some space for probing and transitioning into that has been ruled out or pushed away, or we're not going to look there, we're not going to look there, but we're just going to look here. Well, what we need to see and know is all that. And so we have to open up space. And meditation is where it's possible, because there are no words. I mean, words can come in as static to interfere, but words are not what we're interested in meditation. They're noise. They're something to be set aside so that we can get to the good stuff. So anyway, we have time for another question or two or comment. But I cut you off, Jerry. Did you have anything more to say? Okay. Well, it was great. Thank you for that lead in.
I have a question.
David, yes.
Is it really, where do you want to go? Do you really have a choice?
Great question. Is it where you want to go? Do you have a choice? Well, I think, again, you have a choice, but not, has not been part of what you considered choices. And again, I think it's what you want, but you might not have been aware that that was what you wanted. It's a deeper realm that's wanting it, that needs to be allowed out, up into awareness. And I know we used to do the combined therapy program at the Himalayan Institute. People would say, well, after it was over, well, it wasn't what I wanted or expected, but it sure was what I needed. No. So the things that we most desire deep in our souls are not often things that we can imagine consciously. So if we say, well, now what do I want? Oh, that's okay, then go for what you want. But don't think that's the end of the game. That's just the starting point. Does that help at all?
I think it does, but I don't have any concept of anything other than joining the big pool where we all came from. So I personally don't have any fear of, death and stopping and, all of that. I would say, though, that I am concerned about going through pain in the process.
Yeah. Well, we don't really want to experience a lot of pain. And I think the more open we are, like you're talking about, the more open we are to moving into a different state when we do get rid of this body, the less pain we have. I think a lot of the pain comes from resisting what feels like a tragic ending or something.
Well, it depends on what kills you. I mean, I just don't want to be in excruciating pain before.
Yeah, well, as a physician, I can say that I think that the evidence is that people can have horrible diseases and all kinds of, and as they die, they can experience no pain. And other people can have less disastrous just collapse of the body and experience excruciating pain. And my understanding of it is that it's how much you cling to the past and to life, and how afraid you are of letting go and moving into the unknown.
Even if somebody comes at you with a machete at your neck?
Yeah.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of immediate thing, I mean, looking at a movie where that happened to someone and they were just sitting there bleeding and kind of had this stunned smile on their face as they were dying. And that's very realistic, because the whole nervous system sort of shuts down. And I mean, there would be, if you didn't die, pain would come later perhaps. But pain is, I'm trying to remember the troops in the Crimean War, and the British were fighting alongside these people from that area. I forget who they were. Anyway, they were very they were totally shocked by how they dealt with what would be extremely painful. The arm would get shot, and they would come and sit on their horse while you sawed off the arm and patched it up, and then they would ride off, you know, and didn't seem to be experiencing pain in the way that we imagine it at all. So it's so much a psychological thing, and so much has a lot to do with fear. I think that most of our pain is closely related to fear.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That was great.
Rudyji, this is David Salee. I can share that I found this meditating with this question it brought a sense of peace to me, and I noticed a contrast between that and my normal day-to-day way of being, which is more like I got to get where I'm going faster, not really being present to where I'm going. Like kind of more this vague idea that I'm not getting there fast enough. And so being with that question, for me, it gave me a sense, I got this feeling of expansion and clarity, and I found it very grounding.
Great. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, you know, that's part of our resistance. I think frantic activity is a resistance to all the amazing information and awareness that would come into us if we would be still and quiet and open. And so, you know, we have the TV going, we have this going, we have this, there's always something happening because we are afraid of that unknown world that might descend upon us if we really are quiet and still and open. And I think almost without exception, that world will, if we do allow it to come forward, it's much more delightful and gratifying and beautiful than our frantic lives are. So yeah, that's a good point. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah. Well, thank you all. It was interesting exploration tonight, and I'm glad you are all here to share it. And Garrel is now here. He may have some announcements to make, so I will let him.
Good to see you all. Sorry I missed the first part. Yeah, so this is the end of our 3-part series, sadly. It was really good. And you can, of course, if you missed any parts of the series, you can find them on our Dancing Shiva YouTube channel, and as well as tonight's recording. So yeah, look there. And for next week, we'll come up with something and announce that for you all. And we'll be continuing our process with the meditations or satsangs or something on Sunday evenings. So stay tuned. If you have any observations or questions or input, or if you're seeking something for us to do, please do send your comments or their question to dancingshivatantra@gmail.com, and we'll use that for inspiration, perhaps. So thank you again for coming tonight, joining us tonight. It's good to see all of you, as always. And unmute yourself and let's say good night and thank you.
Night.
Thanks, y'all. That's great.
Everyone.
Good night.
Night. Good night.
Buddy.
Good night. Wonderful.
Mhm.